Is there a relationship in your life that you would like to change? I bet there is. It's fair to say that the quality of our relationships is the quality of our life. Our relationships at home, our relationships with our wider circle of friends, and our relationships at work determine much, not just of how we think or how we feel emotionally, but even, according to long-term studies, our health and well-being over the long run. So it's important that we have a method that works for changing a relationship. And so I'm going to ask you to think about this by focusing on just one relationship, something at home, something at work, a friend, and you say, this would be so great if only this thing were different. At home, we often think, I wish we didn't fight so much, or I hate it when he does this thing, or I wish she would be more sensitive to this. And if only that happened, our relationship would be so much better. At work, it could be, I don't feel I get enough respect, or I don't feel I get listened to enough, or I feel like this person's tone of voice just always puts me off. Just think, what's one thing you would like to be different about just one relationship? You got it? Now I'm going to ask you the next question, which is, how would you know that relationship was different? What would be the tangible, observable differences that would let you know that you were getting more respect, that you were being heard, that somebody was being sensitive to your needs? What do you have to be able to see or hear to know that this has happened? So just reflect on that for a minute. We go from the general sort of abstract, this would be better kind of quality, to these behaviors showing up, these expressions, these actions will tell me this relationship has improved. It's more of what I want it to be. Then ask yourself, how many steps do you think it would take to get there until these new behaviors were reliably showing up? Because we all have good days and bad days. So there are always times a relationship is better than usual, as well as days when it's worse than usual. It's up and down, not a straight line. So how are we going to notice that when we get a good day, it's going to stick? Well, we'll have to see it more than once, and it will probably take more than one step to get us there. And instant change won't be likely to be replicated, and it actually won't be likely to be trusted by you. Because your experience of human beings is that we act based on habits, and you'll be waiting for the other shoe to drop and for the other person to revert to form, we say, go back to being what they've always been. And so it's going to be hard for you if everything happens at once. You need to know step by step. How many steps? How long do I think I need for this to stick before I trust it and they trust it? And I believe that those observable behaviors represent the relationship I want. Got it? Okay. It's not an analytical thing. You'll have a gut reaction. Oh, that's probably like 12 steps. Ah, that one's only three. Okay, whatever. Trust yourself. Because now I'm going to say, okay, however many steps you have, it's more than one. But what's the first step? What is the first thing that has to change in that connection for you to feel that you are on the path of those steps that lead to the relationship you want? So we go from the big change that involves lots of behaviors to just one thing. And that one thing might take a few moments, or it might take a few days, or it might take longer. I don't know. Do you know? Because we want to back up that first step to, okay, given that that is the first thing that needs to happen in this relationship for it to move in the direction that I want it to move, what is the first thing I can do today so that I can take that first step so that this relationship starts becoming the relationship I want to have? And as you narrow in from, I really wish this other person would do this thing differently, would treat me differently, so we've come all the way back to what can you do? Because in this life, the only person you can truly manage is you. Everything else is at one remove. When you change you, the other person has to change too. It's the way relationships work. We are always going back and forth, responding to stimulus that we get from the other person. So, in order to change what the other person notices and does and how they feel, we have to change something at our end. And you start with one small change, not expecting it to solve everything, but expecting it to lead to the first step in a series of steps that will lead to the relationship you want to have. I'm Linda Ferguson, NLP Canada Training. Follow us for more ideas and more exercises to put them to work.